programming software of Altiva 312. So move light. Okay. So this is actually a video. The communication between the VFD and the software is actually showing here. Which are the parameters that we can control using the software. How the VFD is actually communicating with the software. So those things we can just see through the video. So saying in the video, okay. First of all, we have to click on the, when we turn on the software, you'll be getting these options here, connection, and see whether the corresponding VFD is clearly connected with the software. So here we'll be using the Modbus serial as the communication channel. And once the VFD is connected to the PC in which the software is actually installed, we have to put the edit connection section and check whether the connection is perfect or not. So we have to test it. Okay. Yeah. So after scanning, we got the result. Altiva 312 is actually connected here. So we have to select it, click on OK. Now the data that are inside the VFD is getting loaded to the software. That is what actually happens right now. So after once the VFD gets loaded, we'll be getting the results, the already fed parameters to the software. Okay. Yeah. Now you can see the data are synchronized. And when we click on the operate option here, we can see the listed parameters. So along with the listed parameters, you can see some of the unlisted parameters are also activated here. And some things I have to make you clear that here you can see on the left side, you can see the input output terminals, and LI1 is actually in active mode, right? So that makes sense, means the motor is actually working in the forward direction. So here you can see LI1 is actually assigned for the forward direction. LI2 that is for reverse. LI3 is for the PS2 option. LI4 that is for PS4 option. LI5 that is for jog. So all things, all digital inputs are actually assigned for a particular function, and those functions can also be seen here. And along with that, here you can see currently the motor is working in a particular speed, actually 31.8 Hertz. Line voltage you can see here. Drive thermostats are actually visible here. The corresponding current, power, everything is actually visible here. And here you can see low speed is actually 8.5 Hertz. High speed is actually set for 48.6 Hertz. So these are the parameters that actually we can see. So this is actually the software part. So here you can see the parameter settings option, and once if you want to communicate with an external device like the interfacing section, means you can use these logical addresses to interface using the interfacing software. So for LSP, if you want to display the LSP in SCADA, just assume. So you'll be having the interfacing software with you, and inside the software you have to assign the tag, and the tag should be connected with the logical address of the VFD, right? So in that case you have to use the 3105 as the logical address. So that is how we'll be communicating with the external device using the VFD. And when we click on the monitoring section, and here you can just click and drag the monitoring parameters to the screen. We can see all those things while the motor is running. So currently the motor is working in 8.6 Hertz and with the line voltage. So everything we can just screen here. Okay. So these all actually we just connected to the VFD currently, and those values are actually loaded to the VFD. And next what we are going to see is how we can edit the value using the software, and that fresh new value should be communicated with the, or should be stored to the VFD, and then we have to visualize those values inside the software. So for that, first of all, we have to disconnect the software with VFD. So how to disconnect it? Click on the communication option. You can see the disconnect from device option. Just click on that. Device will be disconnected, and then just you can set the parameters that we want to communicate. We want to enter the value, so we have to edit. So that's actually what we are doing here. I'm just choosing the PS2, PS4 and all those parameters that are only necessary, so that we can just delete the unwanted functions. Okay. And now after setting those things, we can edit the values. See, currently I'm just editing the values. Low speed, high speed, everything is getting edited. And then the reverse assignment switch, preset speed switch, preset speeds, everything are actually getting changed. Yeah, after once it gets changed, we'll be feeding these fresh new values to the VFD. That is what we'll be naming as store the fresh values, store to device. Okay. Okay, to communicate with the device, to store with the device, we have to click on the communications and click on store to device option. Yeah, they are actually asking us. You can just read it. SOMO will communicate with the corresponding VFD model using the Modbus serial communication option. We have to click on S to proceed further. So I'm just clicking on S. So these values are actually getting stored to the VFD. Store to device is actually successful. After storing, what we have to do is we have to click on the communications and connect the device. Then only the fresh feeded values will be communicating with the software, and the software will be in the online mode. Yeah. Now you can see the data are actually synchronized here. And now you can see here LI1 is actually assigned for the forward direction, LI6 for the reverse, LI2 for the preset speed 2, PS2, PS4 it will be like LI3, jog is for LI4, and currently motor is working in the forward direction with the 5 Hz. Yeah. You can see frequency is 5 Hz. Output frequency is currently the 5.2 Hz. And if we just change the switch on off conditions, now we can see it. Output frequency is actually 8 Hz. That means LI1 that is on along with LI2. So LI2 is on means it will be like speed to speed, right? So speed to speed is 8 Hz. So in that speed actually the motor is working right now. And if we are just clicking on the monitor, you can see that. So this is how we will be just changing the values. So first of all, we have to connect the motor. We have to load the VFD values to the software. Monitor that things. We have to disconnect the motor the motor or the VFD from the software. We have to edit the corresponding parameters and the values. Then we have to just store the values to the VFD. Then we have to connect the VFD with the software. So this is all about the video. Hope you understand